2 minutes, you all can do, Jai Radha Madhav and Kirtan. See, the speaker is waiting, he rushes from office.
Yeah.
Over to you, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu.
Oh, thank you so much, Mataji. It's always purifying hearing shlokas from Bhagavatam. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
Prabhu. Yes. Very good.
Yes, so we'll get started.
Please. 1.17.12 to 15. Yeah.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruh Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya Namo Krishna Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paschatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we'll get started with chapter number 17, Canto 1. I'll share my screen shortly. Said Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Share my screen. Please let me know once you are able to see my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Prabhu. In 15.9, we have pushed down.
12 was 12 to 15, 12, 13, 14, 15.
0.9.
I just check. Yeah, 1.15.12 is the shloka. Right, Mataji?
Mataji, Prabhuji, we have to start from 9, Prabhuji.
Is it?
Yeah,
because,
that's what I have marked in my book as completed till 8.
Oh, is it because? Okay, that's fine. But actually, in the message it was mentioned
Excuse
1.15.12.
me. Friday, Vraj Sakhi Mataji completed na 9 to 11?
Till 8, Prabhuji, Shri
Okay.
Mataji. Till that demon Maya story she narrated, na? That is the last one.
Because she was scheduled from 9 to 11. And that's the reason.
9 to 11 completed, madam.
Completed,
Yes.
Mataji.
Okay, fine,
Yes.
fine. Then
Yes.
we are on the right shloka.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yattejasa bhagavan yudhisulapānir Vishvapita sagrichostram adan nijam me Anye picha hamamuneva kalevarena Prapto Mahendra Bhavane Mahat Asanartham. Yes. Anyone wants to recite the shloka?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I will try,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yes, sir. Just try.
Yattejasata Bhagavan Yudhishulapani Vismapitak Sa Girijo Astramadan Vijamme Anye Apichaha Mamunaiva Kalevarena Prapro Mahendra Bhavane Mahadasanartham. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranams,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Nice, Prabhu. Anyone wants to read the translation?
Yeah, Prabhuji, shall I?
Yes, Sindhuvan.
Pronounce. Text 12, translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It was by his influence only that in a fight I was able to astonish the personality of God Lord Shiva and his wife, the daughter of Mount Himalaya. Thus he, Lord Shiva, became pleased with me and awarded me his own weapon. Other demigods also delivered their respective weapons to me. And in addition, I was able to reach the heavenly planets in this present body and was allowed a half elevated seat. Purport, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes,
Purport?
anybody?
Anyone else?
Yes.
May I,
wants to take up?
Prabhuji?
Thank you.
Yes,
Hare
May I,
Mataji.
Prabhuji?
Yes.
Hare
Shri Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Dandavat
Mataji.
pranam.
Yes, ma'am.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, all the demigods, including Lord Shiva, were pleased with Arjuna. The idea is that one who is favored by Lord Shiva or any other demigod may not necessarily be favored by the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Ravana was certainly a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but he could not be saved from the wrath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra. And there are many instances like that in the histories of the Puranas, but here is an instance where we can see that Lord Shiva became pleased even in the fight with Arjuna. The devotees of the Supreme Lord know how to respect the demigods, but the devotees of the demigods sometimes foolishly think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no greater than the demigods. By such a conception, one becomes an offender and ultimately meets with the same end as Ravana and others. The instances described by Arjuna during his friendly dealings with Lord Sri Krishna are instructive for all who may be convinced by the lessons that one can achieve all favor simply by pleasing the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whereas the devotees or worshippers of the demigods may achieve only partial benefits which are also perishable, just as the demigods themselves are. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, unless anyone else is there, I can't see.
Prabhuji, Divya Desai Mataji is waiting.
Yes, Mataji. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Another significance of the present verse is that Arjuna, by the grace of Lord Sri Krishna, was able to reach the heavenly planet even with the self-same body and was honored by the heavenly demigod Indradeva, being seated with him half elevated. One can reach the heavenly planets by the pious acts recommended in the Shastras in the category of fruitive activities. And as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9.21, when the reactions of such pious acts are spent, the enjoyer is again degraded to his earthly planet. The moon is also on the level with the heavenly planets and and only persons who have performed virtues, only performing sacrifices, giving charity, and undergoing severe austerities can be allowed to enter into the heavenly planets after the duration of life of the body. Arjuna was allowed to enter into the heavenly planets in the self-same body simply by the grace of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible to do so. The present attempts to enter into the heavenly planets by the modern scientists will certainly prove futile because such scientists are not on the level of Arjuna. They are ordinary human beings without any assets of sacrifice, charity, or austerities. The material body is influenced by the three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. The present population is more or less influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance, and the symptoms for such influence are exhibited in their becoming very lusty and greedy. Such degraded fellows can hardly approach the higher planetary systems above the heavenly planets. There are many other planets also which only those who are influenced by goodness can reach. In heavenly and other planets within the universe, the inhabitants are all highly intelligent, many more times than the human beings, and they are all pious in the higher and highest mode of goodness. They are all devotees of the Lord, and although their goodness is not unadulterated, still they are known as demigods possessing the maximum amount of good qualities possible within the material world. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So let's go to the context, of this shloka. So here, Yudhishthir Maharaj is meeting Arjuna, and Arjuna is looking despondent. And uh, Maharaj asks a lot of questions. You are not healthy. What happened? So later, gets revealed that dear friend of Arjuna and the ever well-wisher of Pandavas, Lord Sri Krishna had disappeared from the earthly planet and moved on to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. So that was making Arjuna very despondent. But Arjuna, while before he gets to that point, he's revealing his heart, right? He's revealing how Lord has played a role in every aspect of his life. How from troubled times, with the grace of the Lord, Arjuna and Pandavas could come out very cleanly from all the troubles which Kauravas had inflicted on them. And in this particular case, Arjuna is reminding himself of how he was able to get the grace of Lord Shiva and Parvati, and how he was given the Pashupatastra, right? Now, why did this come? This came because when Pandavas had gone towards Virata Parva, or they had to go incognito for some time, some duration. Essentially, Lord Krishna and sage Vyas, they instructed Arjuna to essentially go get celestial weapons, because they could see that there could be potentially a war ahead. So just like government prepares itself, right, with all the ammunition, all the arms, all the battle tanks, the all the ammunition, all the weapons. Similarly, in this case, he was requested by Krishna and Vedvyas to essentially go after celestial weapons. And as part of that, Arjuna essentially started going towards Himalayas. And that's where there's a reference to Mount Himalaya here. And he started to meditate on Lord Shiva. Now, Lord Shiva essentially is Ashutosh. He's easily pleased. And with the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has a special affection towards them, because Lord Shiva knows that they're not looking for any material gifts, but most of those material gifts that they're looking for is just to make sure that they're able to tide over an imminent crisis, and they can actually follow the path to bhakti again. So Lord Shiva, basically, having been pleased with the austerities observed by Arjuna, he wanted to give him a test. So what happened was, he basically, as he wanted to test, suddenly what happened was, there was a wild boar by the name Mukha or Mukhasura, who was approaching towards Arjuna. So Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, is always vigilant, right? And Kshatriyas always look for places where they can actually show their mettle as true Kshatriyas, where they can actually show their courage, their charisma, their ability to show the use of their skills, essentially. They're looking for a playground to show their skills. And Arjuna immediately looked at this particular boar, which was actually running towards Arjuna. And at that time, essentially, Arjuna was preparing to shoot an arrow. At the same time, an arrow was shot at on the wild boar. And when Arjuna went closer to the boar, he saw that wasn't just one, but two arrows. He got puzzled. How is it that one target has two people shooting at it? Because he couldn't see the other hunter. It was essentially Lord Shiva Trustes and hunter Kirata, and who had shot the arrow. So then who basically slayed the demon? And Kshatriyas are extremely filled with pride. So Arjuna immediately said, no, it's my arrow which killed this boar. And the Kirata, who was essentially Lord Shiva personified, essentially dressed as this hunter, he claimed, no, it was my arrow. And they basically gotten into a dispute. And Arjuna in that time challenged, okay, that dispute became a fight, and Arjuna challenged Lord Shiva. And basically Arjuna tried a lot of ways to defeat the hunter. He first tried his arrows. He tried all tricks of his trade, and he also combat. But Lord Shiva, being Lord Shiva, very, very powerful. And Arjuna immediately someone very, very superior in terms of mind, in terms of skill, in terms of strength. And that time, Arjuna decided to fashion a Shivalinga out of earth. And he started to offer puja to the Shivalinga. And at the end, he offered a garland to the Shivalinga. Lo and behold, the moment he garlanded this Shivalinga, he sees the hunter himself is got garlanded. The same garland that he has given on the Shivalinga is on the neck of the hunter. Then Arjuna quickly realized that this is no ordinary hunter, but Lord Shiva himself. And he immediately begged forgiveness and fell at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva was, see, this is one thing which pleases all Vaishnavas. And Lord Shiva is the Vaishnava Yata Shambho, right? He is the supreme, Lord Shiva is the supreme Vaishnava. So immediately he saw the humility of Arjuna. Despite the fact that Arjuna is so skilled the three worlds, Lord Shiva, this humility of Arjuna attracted him. And he revealed his divine form alongside Mother Parvati. And Lord Shiva gifted Arjuna the Pashupat Astra, right, which is a very fierce celestial weapon, which was missing in Arjuna's arsenal. And it was blessing in disguise because this Astra would come into its utility or in its usage in the impending Mahabharata war, right? And Arjuna could essentially get that by pleasing Lord Shiva. There's a section called Pastime is revealed between the two. Now, in this, this is the details of what happened there. Here, there's a very interesting point Srila Prabhupada is raising, that the devotees of the Supreme Lord know how to respect the demigods. But the devotees of the demigods sometimes foolishly think that Supreme Personality of God or the Godhead is no greater than the semigods, than the demigods. So as devotees of Lord Krishna and as Vaishnavas, we always offer respects to demigods. We don't ridicule, we don't mistreat, we don't condescend. We understand that the certain ministries in terms of execution have been awarded to these demigods. And they are the agents of Lord Krishna in terms of day-to-day, running execution of this worldly place. So we do not surrender to demigods. Of course, we don't do that. However, we can ask demigods that how best can I get Krishna Bhakti? What endeavors can I take? We can pray like that in a prayerful mood. We can ask that any obstacles, any impediments that come in our way in getting Krishna Bhakti, we can ask demigods to help solve that. It could be anything, some bodily issues, anything of that. Of course, Supreme Personality of Godhead is capable of solving all of that. But when we offer respects to demigod, we also ask, okay, how can I progress in Krishna Bhakti? Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of Lord Krishna, right? Who better than Lord Shiva to ask that how can I progress in Krishna Bhakti? How can I get this rapid growth? How can I progress? So Lord Shiva, because he's Ashutosh, he's easily pleased. He will be immediately able to grant us those blessings so that we can progress in Krishna Bhakti. However, the vice versa is not true. That means the worshippers of demigods, they do not understand this arrangement, right? How demigods and Supreme Personality of God, what's the interaction? How do they play out? And in absence of that knowledge, they consider Supreme Personality of, it's essentially a sin we should avoid, right? We should not consider Supreme Personality of Godhead to be equal to demigods. There is no one equal to or greater than him. That is very clear from Vedas. Ravana, where when he becomes an offender, he essentially he meets his end. The instances described by Arjuna during his friendly dealings with Lord Krishna are instructive for all who may be convinced by the lessons that one can achieve all favors, simply by pleasing the Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead, Sri Krishna. Whereas worshippers of demigod may achieve only partial benefits, which are also perishable. Now, this is very important that when one basically asks demigods, unless it is in relation to Lord Krishna, anything that we are asking which advances in the path of bhakti, that is not perishable. That will continue across lifetimes. But any other benefits that we ask from demigods, because they themselves are perishable, they themselves have a finite lifetime. Whatever they will award will also have a finite lifetime. So it will never transcend across lifetimes. So something that we need to be aware of. What else? Here, another important point Srila Prabhupada makes here is essentially that Arjuna would go to heavenly planets and be in the Indra Sabha in the self same body. He didn't have to change his body. Now, let's take an example here.
Not audible, Prabhuji. Some voice break. I think low signal.
Hare Krishna, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I lost you because I felt I was getting uh, uh,
Prabhuji, again, we cannot hear you, Prabhuji.
disconnected or something like that. But is it no?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Voice is
Prabhuji.
breaking, Prabhuji.
Am
Voice
I
is breaking. We can't able to hear.
okay? Audible now? Any better?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is it better? Okay, sorry, Mataji. I think there is a internet issue at my end. I'm not sure where last left, but what I was describing here is that Arjuna essentially reached Swargaloka to meet Indra and his Sabha in the self same body. And I was trying to draw a comparison. When Srila Prabhupada made a comment on with respect to the fact that when he describes the three features of the law of Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So there is this case made that Bhagavan realization is akin to us being able to physically land in Surya Loka and see Lord and see Surya Dev, face to face, driven by Aruna, his charioteer. And we cannot definitely travel to Surya Loka in the same body, right? It becomes more and more subtle. We can't go with this cross-border. Interesting bit is Arjuna could go to heavenly in his way. Anyone remembers a great devotee of the Lord who could go to Vaikuntha in the self-same body? Anyone knows? Anybody? A dear devotee of the Lord who went to Vaikuntha Loka in the self-same body? Anyone is aware?
Prabhuji, that Vishwamitra, yes, he sent a man to Vaikuntha Loka.
Karam Maharaj, Prabhuji from Maharashtra.
Am I audible again?
Yes, Prabhuji. Now you are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. So I was talking about Tukaram Maharaj. Was that audible, that part?
No, Prabhuji. Only you are. We were able to listen only the question.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. So what I was trying to explain here is we hear from the life of Tukaram Maharaj that when he was singing these abhangas, and what happened was at that time, uh, a divine chariot came from Vaikuntha Loka, and Tukaram Maharaj boarded that, and everyone around could see Tukaram Maharaj boarding that in the self same body, in that same body which is made of Panchadhatus, like all of us. So that can happen. I'm trying to substantiate that can only happen simply by the grace of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible, right? So, because these lokas are created in such a way that it becomes subtler, it becomes more and more subtle, right? We can't travel in the same Panchadhatu body because, again, it's this form of so we suffer from all these problems. So we can't use the same body. However, it's only with the grace of Lord, and this is an exception, not a general rule. So I just wanted to substantiate this part. Then one another thing, see, that's the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's commentaries. He will always bring the contemporary with a contemporary world in all his purports. So he always draws a parallel. Okay, this is how it is. He'll give you an exception. He'll talk about things in the spiritual side. He'll also try to draw parallels with the contemporary world. Here, when we often see that even to go to moon, we can't go in the same body. We have to take help of those suits. So here, so Srila Prabhupada is saying the present attempts to enter the heavenly planets by the modern scientists will certainly prove futile because scientists are not on the level of Arjuna. So even to enter a place like moon, which is not so far away as other heavenly planets, we find that we can't go in the same body. So going that far in this body, it's going to be impossible for scientists because they don't have the bhakti of Arjuna to be able to induce the grace of the Lord. So that's what Prabhupada is talking about. Again, the material body is influenced by the three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the present population is influenced by these modes. And what we find is we are more influenced by modes of passion and ignorance, right? What we've also seen is that as we move up the planets, there's only mode of goodness that exists, right? But as we go down the planets, the modes change, right? Here it's mixed mode. If you go to lower planets, it's mostly mode of ignorance, right? So the modes of nature and the placement of planets are also aligned that way. So above the heavenly planets, there are many other planets also which are only. So this is what Prabhupada is saying, that it goes up as with the mode of goodness, it goes down with the mode of ignorance. And in middle planets, in central planets, you'll see mixed modes. So, so therefore, all devotees of the Lord, although their goodness is not unadulterated, still they are known as demigods, possessing the maximum amount of good capabilities. So these demigods, it's not by fluke that they are demigods. It is because they have also satisfied Lord to the extent that they have got the ministries that they have, right? And they are disposing this on behalf of the Lord, on the Supreme Personality of Lord Godhead. Obviously, they are far uh, bigger than us in terms of their physical abilities and their and the grace that they have received from the Lord. But they also have a lifespan. They are not permanent. They will also and some of these are positions, right? Like for example, Yamadev, right? Lord Yama, when he was cursed by Mandukya Rishi, he came in as whom? Anybody remembers? He came as whom? To this earth. When Yamadev was cursed by Mandukya Rishi, what did he come as?
Vidura, Vidura.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, he came as Vidura. So at that time, there was right, while Yamadev was, Lord Yama was here, that was backfilled by, someone else as part of filling in the duties. So most of these are positions. Okay, we'll move to the next one, just to make sure that we don't. Tatreva me viharatu bhujadandayukmam Kandivalakshanam arati vadaya deva Sendra srita yad anubhavitam ajamida Tena ham adya musita purushena bhumna. Anyone wants to read the shloka?
Prabhuji, sorry to again interrupt. Can you please share the screen, Prabhuji?
Oh God, okay. One second, let me see. I don't know why it went away. Is it visible now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Go ahead, Mataji. You can recite the shloka.
Sure, Prabhuji. Tatraiva me viharato bhujadanda yugmam gandiva lakshanam arati vadhaya devaah sendrah shrita yad anubhavitam ajamida tenaham adya mushitah purushena bhumna.
Anyone wants to read the translation?
Prabhuji, may I?
Yes, now Kishore Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When I stayed for some days as a guest in the heavenly planets, all the heavenly demigods, including King Indradeva, took shelter of my arms, which were marked with the Gandiva bow to kill the demon named Nivata
Kavacha.
Kavacha. Oh, thank you, Prabhuji. O King, descendant of Aja Mida, as at the present moment I am bereft of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by those by whose influence I was so powerful. Prabhuji, should I read purport or anybody else want to read?
Anybody? I can't see who's there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Giridhar Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The heavenly demigods are certainly more intelligent, powerful, and beautiful, and yet they had to take help from Arjuna because of his Gandiva bow, which was empowered by the grace of Lord Sri Krishna. The Lord is all powerful, and by his grace, his pure devotee can be as powerful as he may desire, and there is no limit to it. And when the Lord withdraws his power from one second, withdraws his power from anyone, he is powerless by the will of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Girdhar Prabhu. So here, one thing that comes out very nicely, of course, Arjuna talks about how he got the powers and how even the heavenly planets took shelter of my arms. So let's dig deeper into took shelter of my arms, which were marked with the Gandiva bow to kill the demon named Nivata Kavacha. So now what happened was, after Arjuna left Swargaloka, I mean, he's still in Swargaloka after he got the celestial weapon, Pashupatastra. So he was in the Sabha of Indra. And at that time, Arjuna was approached by Devatas that there is this demon called Nivata Kavacha who's playing a havoc. Nivata Kavacha was, a demon who was invincible, and he had received many boons to make himself invincible. Now, Indra, actually Arjuna is in some sense a son of Indra. Indra asked Arjuna to destroy the Nivata Kavacha, and using the celestial weapons and using the special chariot given by Indra, he went and essentially started to fight Nivata Kavacha. And this demon was hiding in basically he went to the ocean because this demon was hiding in the ocean. And there was a fierce battle that pursued between the two. And again, Nivata Kavacha also retaliated with a lot of weapons, etc. And basically, Arjuna used Aindrastra, which basically took care of not just Nivata Kavacha, but annihilated his species, complete species of that demon. And therefore, he was showered with flower petals and glorified by the residents of the heavenly planets. So that's what Arjuna is talking about, that they took shelter of his arms to take care of Nivata Kavacha. And here, one very important learning for all of us is that by grace of Lord, it is possible that we may get a lot of good memory, we may get certain special qualities, right? To be able to preach Krishna consciousness, to be able to take the take the message of Godhead to others. But when Lord gives us these gifts, right? Like we become more intelligent, we become more exuberant, we become very radiant, because Krishna conscious devotees get this as by virtue of submitting to the grace of Lord. What should not happen is that it should not lead to pride in us. So a pure devotee can be as powerful as he may desire, because the Lord is boundless. There is no limits to what Lord can empower us with. There is no limit to it. But when a devotee of the Lord remains humble, he knows these gifts have come to me to be in service to the Lord. So he doesn't take pride, or he doesn't feel, he doesn't look down upon other people. He's using these gifts to preach the Lord, or preach the message of the Lord. And he also knows that these gifts can be taken away anytime, right? Now, Arjuna, there's a classic example that when he was trying to, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead left, right, and he had to secure the queens of Dwaraka, there were these small-time bandits, right? They were pestering these queens. And Arjuna, he had the prowess of Gandiva. He had, in fact, he had a lot of pride in his, his abilities. But these small-time bandits, small thieves, small-time petty criminals, they could actually defeat Arjuna. Arjuna could not do anything, because Supreme Personality of Godhead knew that the that Mahabharata Yuddha is over, right? Now Arjuna doesn't need the prowess that I had given him at the time of battle. So those abilities were taken. When Arjuna was powerless, he immediately understood it's the will of the Lord. He understood that essentially it is the same Arjuna, it is the same me, it's the same Gandiva. No, but what has changed? Supreme Personality of God is not there. So all the talents, skills, abilities have got nullified in no time. And he was able to make peace with it. Though he felt bad, because it's obvious anybody will feel bad, but he could make peace because he was Arjuna, right? He was a close associate of the Lord. So similarly, we should not get this pride when we get these gifts from the Lord to be able to serve the Supreme Personality of God. We may get exceptional oratory skills, we may have a good way of cooking, but we should not develop any pride, because these things can be taken away anytime, right? So with that, we'll move to the next shloka. Yad bandhava kurubal balabdim anantaparam eko ratena tatare aham अतीर्य सत्वम प्रत्यार्थम बहुधनम च माय परेशाम तेजस्पदम मणिमयम च हृतम शिरोभ्य. One wants to read? People. Am I audible?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Archana Mata.
Pranam
Yes.
Shri.
Dandavat Mataji.
Yadbandhava kuru bhalabhim anandaparam eko radena tadarehamatiriya sattvam pratyahudam bahudanam cha maya paresham tejas padam manimayam cha hrudam shirobhya. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Anybody wants to read the translation?
Hare
Anyone?
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Go ahead.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada ki jai. The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelled many invincible existences, and thus it was insurmountable. But because of his friendship, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over it, and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many helmets of the kings, which were bedecked with jewels that were sources of all brilliance. Hare Krishna.
Anyone? Thank you, Mataji. Amita Mataji. Anyone else wants to read the purpose? Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to read the purpose?
Yeah, Mataji. Deval Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
You want me to read the purport, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Deval Mataji. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. On the Kaurava side, there were many stalwart commanders like Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and Karna, and their military strength was as insurmountable as the great ocean. And yet, it was due to Lord Krishna's grace that Arjuna alone, sitting on the chariot, could manage to vanquish them one after another without difficulty. There were many changes of commanders on the other side, but on the Pandavas side, Arjuna alone on the chariot driven by Lord Krishna could manage the whole responsibility of the great war. Similarly, when the Pandavas were living at the palace of Virata incognito, the Kauravas picked a quarrel with the king Virata and decided to take away his large number of cows. While they were taking away the cows, Arjuna fought with them incognito and was able to regain the cow along with some booty taken by force, the jewels set on the turbans of the royal order. Arjuna remembered that all this was possible by the grace of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. So, here we are talking about Arjuna in two places. One is the Virata Parva, and the other is the real war that happened, right? So in Virata Parva, Arjuna basically went with the son of the kingdom, and for forgetting his name, And he essentially, it was a bit of a comedy where the prince of that kingdom, he wanted to, he would talk very highly about himself, that he can take care of all of them in one shot. And but when it came to real battle, he backed off and he became the charioteer. And Arjuna, who was actually who was the charioteer, he was essentially a eunuch and the dancer. He got that form because of a curse, right? Uh, um, One of the, I think, heavenly damsels, Urvashi, I think she cursed Arjuna, right? Urvashi cursed Arjuna and he became Brihannala. And so Brihannala, who was actually the one who would teach dance, and, owing to Arjuna having a eunuch's body, uh, he was actually the initially Arjuna was the charioteer, but the roles switched. Arjuna got his divine weapons. He had kept them in the tree near the battlefield, and he actually went on. And by one particular weapon, he laid all the Kauravas unconscious, and he was able to collect their ropes, more like a trophy. And he was able to secure the kingdom from these wrath of Kauravas. And of course, we also know what transpired in the whole Mahabharata war, where all these individually put, many of these kings had probably superior strength than Arjuna, right? And they were actually uh, in a union, and they were fighting Arjuna together with all their might. But when Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though he had taken a pledge that he would not take the weapons, he would not pick any weapon during the war, and he will be just a charioteer. In that position, he could make Arjuna win the war. Imagine if he takes the weapon and if he actually volunteers himself in the war, what can happen? Right? So anybody who's up against the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no chance to win. But sometimes devotees like Bhishma, who's also counted as one of the Mahajans, they do it as a service. They have been given this role by Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are performing their service, and they therefore get some joy. And Lord also wants to enjoy this virya ras, right? And there is a kind of a simile which is mentioned that sometimes people who are facing off against the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they could see the front darshan of the Lord, the beautiful darshan of the Lord. People who were fighting for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they got the darshan of the behind of the Lord, right? So the front darshan is always very joyful, right? I'm not saying that we need to face off against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What I'm trying to say here is anyone in that war was performing a service to the Lord, right? And therefore they were given these designations. At the end of the day, all of them got delivered, because anyone who's in the battlefield where Supreme Personality of Godhead is, there is no chance that he will get a lower birth. All of them got delivered. So that's something we can understand here. And Arjuna, he, in a separation, in mood of separation, was remembering all these things that have happened. So devotee of the Lord is always filled, his heart is filled with gratitude. He's always looking for opportunities on how he can remember the Lord, right? He is always seeking the association of the Lord. He's always longing for it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who personified, who came in, who was non-different than Krishna himself, he personified how devotees can perform bhakti in the mood of separation. So essentially, he was personifying the mood of Radharani in separation from Krishna, and how he performed his pastimes, and all of that is documented in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we understand what should be our mood in serving the Lord, right? And by reading these pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yo Bhishma Karna Guru Shalya Chamushvadhabra Rajanya Varyarata Mandala Manditasu Agre Charo Mama Vibo Rata Yutapanam Ayur Manam Sichadrisha Saha Oja Archat. Yes. Anybody wants to?
Ambika Mataji, Shailaja Mataji. Anyone want to take up? Yeah, Divya Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Should I read the shloka, Mataji, or translation?
Shloka and translation.
Yes.
Shloka. Yo Vishmakarna Guru Salyaka Chausau Adabra Rajanyavaryarat Mandala Manditasu Agre Charo Mama Vibhoratha Yutha Panam Ayur Mama Husicha Drishasaha Oja Archat. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Well done, Mataji. Anyone wants to read the translation?
Can I read?
Yes, Divya Mataji, please go ahead.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It was he only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone and who in the battlefield withdrew the speculative power and strength of enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhishma, Karna, Drona, Salya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate, but he, Lord Sri Krishna, while going forward, did all this. Thank you, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone wants to read the purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Dandavat
Yes, Shailaja Mataji. Yes.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The absolute personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expands himself by his plenary Paramatma portion in everyone's heart, and thus he directs everyone in the matter of recollection, forgetfulness, knowledge, the absence of intelligence, and all psychological activities. Bhagavad Gita 15.15. As the Supreme Lord, he can increase or decrease the duration of life of living being. Thus the Lord conducts the battle of Kurukshetra according to his own plan. He wants that battle to establish Yudhishthira as the emperor of this planet, and to facilitate this transcendental business, he kills all who were on the opposite party by his omnipotent will. The other party was equipped with all military strength, supported by big generals like Bhishma, Drona, and Salya, and it would have been physically impossible for Arjuna to win the battle had the Lord not helped him by every kind of tactic. Such tactics are generally followed by every statesman, even in a modern warfare, but they are all done materially by powerful espionage, military tactics, and
Espionages.
espionages,
Espionages.
espionages,
Yes.
military tactics, and diplomatic maneuver. But because Arjuna was the Lord's affectionate devotee, the Lord did all this himself without personal anxiety by Arjuna. That is the way of devotional service to the Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Shailaja Mataji. Such a beautiful purport. See, what Prabhupada is calling out here is, he's having stalwarts on the other side, and they have Akshogani Senas, they have much more might in terms of numbers, right, in the battlefield. And all of them capable warriors, and they have very good military arrangements. They have exceptional, war skills. But here, Prabhupada mentions that he killed all who were on the opposite sides party by his omnipotent will, Lord Krishna. The other party was equipped with such big generals, but it would have been physically impossible to win the battle had the Lord not helped him by every kind of tactic. For example, how he got to take care of Drona, then how Bhishmacharya, Shikhandi front-ended. So Lord made that tactic. Right? By tactics, Lord could ensure that Arjuna comes out victorious. Right? All this is happening because Arjuna was the Lord's affectionate devotee. The Lord did all this himself without personal, such a beautiful statement, without personal anxiety by Arjuna. So when one has submitted himself to the will of the Lord, there is no personal anxiety. One is basically, Lord is like that kind parent, right? once you've submitted yourself to the will of the Lord, any big obstacle that comes your way is actually, becomes, it's like a pack of cotton, right, which will not hurt. It will probably come and, make you a better person, right? With Lord's intervention, we may get all issues, all problems, all adversities possible. But all that is a way how a parent will teach his child, by putting him through these tests. But there is this surrender to the Lord, which will help make sure that we pass out with flying colors in all the tests which Lord has put through. Lord will never test anyone beyond what he's capable of, right? So when we see Dhruva Maharaj, who was a small child, a boy of 5 years old, but when Suniti, Suruchi taunted him that you can't get on the lap of your father, right? He was directed by his mother, Suniti, to actually approach the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, Dhruv Maharaj went to the forest. He performed a lot of austerities. A small boy, imagine a small 5-year-old boy who's essentially given up eating. Now he eats only grass. After a few weeks, he is only drinking water once in 7-8 days. He's taking breath only once in 8 days. He's doing tapasya on single leg. Imagine all these austerities which Dhruv Maharaj went through. One may think, okay, why is Lord putting a 5-year-old boy to these tests? Is he so merciless that a small boy will be put through this? No, Lord will never test anyone beyond his capability. And look at what has happened as a result of this pastime. Dhruv Maharaj came out with flying colors. Lord gave him his personal darshan. He touched his conch on the head of Dhruv Maharaj. He got an ability to glorify Lord right away. He was rattling all Sanskrit shlokas the moment this happens. And he has become part of Bhagavatam. What more can one ask for? And therefore, we talk about Dhruv Maharaj pastimes, we glorify him so much. So these are the things Lord basically gives as a gift to his devotees. So that's why devotional service to the Lord is the best way to drive away all your personal anxieties. You don't need to have compost or any sedative. It's just that you need to submit yourself to his will. Yes. So with that, I'll end our class today. And any questions before we wrap up?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, no, instead of this, I have no questions. Realization is that the Supreme Lord, by His will only, by the will of Supreme Lord only, we will get all the knowledge, fame, name, forgetfulness, everything will be happened only on the will of Supreme Lord. So the thing is, if any positive things come to us, we must not fright. And then negative things we must always answer to the Supreme Lord. We must be in devotional service forever.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Wonderful realization, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing it. Yes. So I know I am 10 minutes over time now. In absence of any other questions, we'll close the class today. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Dandavat.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अंतरात्मा भागवतम की जय.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.